r/datingoverforty. Walk Diligent 4056 says, how common is it for men to struggle with old? I spoke to 2 men this week that were recently separated, so I decided not to date them. This made it possible for us to have a frank conversation about their dating life. Both of these men were slightly better than average looking with white-collar jobs and no kids out of the house. Both told me that their calendar is full of dates, like 4 nights in a row type of full. I thought only women or super attractive men had that many opportunities, so I was very surprised and now feel a bit intimidated and perplexed. I hear men complain all the time how they get so few matches, and so I wonder why these 2 guys who are not exceptional in any way were doing so well. Alone Albatross 6694 says, I once met a friend of a friend. She and I compared notes as we were both single and using apps. She was flooded with dates and chats and matches. She had 3 to 4 dates a week sometimes. I, on the other hand, couldn't get 3 to 4 dates in a month. She wasn't a supermodel or particularly attractive. She also seemed a little unhinged in our conversation about the situations she put herself in. As we dug deeper, I found out she was essentially swiping on everyone who swiped on her. Accepting dates from nearly anyone that asked. I guess my point is, just know there's always more to the story. Walk Diligent 4056 says, good point. Old Possession 4614 says, it depends. It's possible they're super attractive, but it's also possible they just go out with any and every woman that gives them a shot. One of the guys in my circle of friends that gets the most dates consistently from Hinge pretty much exclusively dates very noticeably overweight women, for instance. They're exactly his type, so he's having the time of his life, lol. But generally speaking, women like that get fewer likes/matches than someone that would be considered conventionally attractive, which makes it easier for him to match with them, less competition. I also know a few younger guys, late 20s, who exclusively chase after much older women than themselves, 40 plus, sometimes even 50 plus, because they have an easier time attracting them. So without knowing more, it's hard to say. Curiouser 212 says, Thisong, I'm on no apps, but men in their 20s and 30s, or so they say, are all the mine here about how much they love and are attracted to my age group. F66, I do not believe them. I think they think I'm a fish in a barrel, low hanging fruit or easy pickings. So to go back to op, I think many men set a whatever bar and don't want much for now, but they are not really seeking LTRS so much as a hookup. And yay, fine. Glass Income 4151 says, they have good jobs and can hold a conversation. I'm already ready to have their babies. Barksxy 48,004,800 says, is your idea of average accurate? The majority of Americans over 40 are obese and make less than $65k a year. Smarter General says, I hear men complain all the time how they get so few matches. Do you hear this from real people you know? Or just people on Reddit? r/datingoverforty. Worthwave 1407 says, did I interpret this wrong? So IF43 met M48 on Hinge a few weeks ago. We connected over shared interests that were activity based, museums, racket sports, exploring our city. We also discovered we live pretty close. Went on a first date, a Friday, and it went better than expected. It was early, because he had plans after. We ended up kissing at the end, which I also wasn't expecting, but I liked it, so I didn't pull away. We talked about getting together again, and Sunday he texts about doing something Tuesday. We end up meeting again Wednesday of that week, and I think we'll probably meet and grab dinner by us or something. But he says, let's take a walk and go to my place. I responded with let's walk, but I prefer going out since we both work from home, so we get a glass of wine after the walk. He asks again if I want to come over. The answer is still no. FFWD to this week, and for what would be our third date, and he proposes going on a walk and coming over. Meanwhile he is going to an event prior, an event that I expressed interest in going to BTW. So again I say how about we do this instead, and listed out some places we had talked about going to. He comes back with Hez trying not to drink lol. Meanwhile I literally do not care about drinking, and usually have one drink socially. So I told him he missed the point. He then comes back with Hez not looking for someone to bar hop with, Hez looking for someone to doozes. I wasn't proposing to bar hop, I was just giving an alternate location than his house. This resulted in a back and forth about semantics. Finally I told him to drop it. I have no intention of reaching out, but for my own benefit I need to know if I was misunderstanding. He was just trying to hook up, right? Am I alone in thinking that all his dates were low effort? And flipping the script was gaslighting, right? If he was looking for the things we originally connected on, he should have proposed one of those, but he never. Quite Quandary says he is interested in sex and not necessarily interested in you. Linny's 23 says he doesn't seem to respect your boundaries, and it appears he was trying to squeeze you in 4-6 after doing something else with friends without you. Your assessment is correct. Drop him. Worthwave 1407 says thanks for the responses everyone. Realized I was being one of those people who felt like they had to respond to everyone and further explain. So I'll stop doing that now. Have a great weekend. Little Sister 10 says he can piss off. Way too many men are manipulative as hell and try and pressure or guilt you with that BS. I met some straight up creeps early on who did this to me, and I fell into the pleasant woman trap. Now I see this behavior from a mile away. If you feel like it, frick with his head. I like to choose violence for low value men like that. River of Darkness Rocks says if the guy wasn't interested in sex, he wouldn't kept trying to get you back to his house. He would read the room after his first terrible effort got turned down. Shall Weirder says girl, he just wanted to hook up. Glad you stood your ground. Ginger Snapped 818 says one of my favorite terrible date stories. I was a waitress, and we talked about meeting up at the bar I go to after work. I'm updating him that my shift is ending blah blah. He doesn't respond. Whatever, I still go to the bar. About 1 AM, he texts me that he fell asleep. I said cool, I'm still at the bar. He gets there in time for last call, and we chat for a while. He suggests we go back to his place because he's leaving town for like 10 days, and if we don't hang out now, it will be so long until we can. I declined, but what a smart plan that requires such little effort. r/datingoverforty. Fun Melody 04 says how do you keep dating more engaging when over 40? Dating over 40 has been an interesting experience, but sometimes I feel like it's tough to keep things fresh and exciting. Most people I meet seem to be more interested in a comfortable routine than trying new things, which I get stability is nice, but I'd still like to have fun and create new memories together. I recently met someone I really like, and we both seem to be in a good place financially. I even came into a bit of extra spending money from a small win I had on a bet, so we have some flexibility to plan outings. But I don't want things to become predictable too quickly or feel like we're just following the same old date patterns. What are some fun or unique date ideas you've tried that made things feel fresh and exciting? Whether it's an activity, a type of getaway, or even a hobby, I'd love to hear some creative suggestions for keeping the spark alive while also building a meaningful connection. Dating in your 40s can be great, but sometimes you need a little inspiration to break out of routine. Cat in an Oak Tree says ideas I go to: 1. Picnics. 2. Zoos, aquariums, gardens, museums. 3. Troll hikes, outdoor art exhibits. 4. Day hikes, waterfalls, 5. Tourist traps like the Salton Sea, caving, 6. National parks, Crater Lake is an escape, 7. Pinball arcade, 8. Board gaming at the local store, 9. Fundraiser events with local charities, 10. Kayak/canoeing/paddleboarding, I'm awful but she'll get a good laugh, 11. Pottery classes, 12. Dinner theater, noir, 13. Musical/plays, 14. Wine and painting, 15. Antiquing, 16. Whale watching/bad watching, puffins, 17. Ghost tours/Seattle Underground/ghost town hikes, just a few ideas off the top of my head. Not throwaway account 9 says, at tacky as it is, I've found it helpful to look up date ideas in my area. There are a lot of basic suggestions, but some I wouldn't have thought of. There are a lot of small sporty things to do like bathing cages, bowling, top golf, trampoline parks, etc. Most places have lots of parks and trails to explore. Simply checking out a new restaurant can be fun. There are usually a number of fairs and other local events to go to. Personally, I enjoy just about anything if it's with someone I like. Also, don't discount the joy of a date night in. Movies and some takeout can be a lot of fun if they are planned. Giant Fork Bud says, no idea. All my dates seem to be interested in the past few years is expensive restaurants or expensive travel. I suggest stuff like a B&B in a small mountain town, cooking a nice meal together, or doing cultural things like music and plays, and they reject it as cheap. I used to do lots of museum day trips, exploring cool little towns, doing seasonal stuff, taking classes, etc. But since I have turned 40 plus, there seems to be zero interest in any of that stuff whenever I suggest it. Bohemian Hibiscus says, tell us more about this bet. Anasius says, I'm a foodie, so I love checking out new restaurants. There's also a nice little art museum in my area that I like to visit. And I love taking little road trips to other cities or to go hiking. Really, anything can be a date, as long as you're intentional about it. Even just walking around downtown and stopping at random shops, or going to a place you're familiar with to talk about the parts of it you love, can be a great break from routine. Energy Crutcher says, M46 here. 90% of my dates are activities. A new or scenic cycling route, board games and cafe, costume clubs and thrift store shopping or hunting. It's always nice to switch it up. If the person I'm seeing has a unique hobby, then we can do that if they want to share the experience. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.